This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Saving lives in the sky. Welcome back to another edition of Hometown Heroes on Family Life. I'm Mark Webster, and this week's guest is Hector Camacho, a Hornell, New York-based flight medic who recently hit a remarkable milestone with his 1,000th patient transport. Not surprisingly, he got started early on a distinguished EMS career. So you got started pretty early as a first responder. Tell me about how it all began.
I started out in junior volunteer squad. I was 15 in Beacon, New York. That first year was just spent learning my way around the ambulance because I wasn't able to ride on an ambulance. So I was 16 years old. Volunteered there for several years. After leaving Beacon, I picked a school that had a volunteer ambulance on campus, and I went to University of Buffalo. Worked for Bear Point Volunteer Ambulance, based right there on the campus. One of the first campus-based EMS agencies. I was there for 7 years. Got my EMT through them and my intermediate.
Eventually, you actually wound up in more of a supervisory EMS role. Tell me about that.
Working with rural Metro. Started out in Buffalo, spent several years. I transferred over to Rochester immediately. Through my time there, Greece Ambulance was looking for staffing. Transferred over to Greece Volunteer Ambulance. There was a position opening for their training director. We put together a really good training program. In 2012, on my letter there, I was voted as Educator of the Year for the Monroe Livingston Region EMS Council. With the work that we did at Greece Ambulance, I was also a shift lieutenant, so working regular shifts also along with doing the training work.
And yet something else eventually was calling. Tell me how you eventually wound up in the sky.
Just one of those flukes, you know. The base here in Hornell had an opening. I knew the base lead at that point, working with the ground units in the community there in Livingston County. I got to know the crews and know the people that work there. The base lead in Hornell at LifeNet of New York worked with those crews at SET Medevac, gave me a call to let me know that there was an opening at the base. This was just after I just got that nice nomination, Educator of the Year, working as the shift lieutenant at Greece Volunteer Ambulance. I felt kind of obligated. I was like, I got to stick with these guys. I'm sorry. I'm doing something really neat right now. But again, it was my wife that was like, hey, after I got off the phone, I said, you need to call them back. That's what you've always wanted to do. You need to go for this job and see what happens. It was my wife that kind of like just pushed me right to what I always wanted to do. Greece was great. They let me maintain my status, and I continued on for another year of Greece Volunteer Ambulance while I was working the helicopter. It gets busy. Schedules change. You could be asked to go somewhere else and cover another base. And I was just getting great opportunities, picking up shifts at other bases and stuff like that. So it worked out really well.
I know just from my time as an EMT that what you do is literally on another level. And I think it's hard for most people in the public to really appreciate the level of training it takes just to be certified as a flight paramedic.
Mm-hmm. There is a lot. We spend a lot of time training. When I got hired as a flight paramedic, I already had critical care transport experience. I was already a critical care paramedic, but never to the extent of what you do in flight. You go do a balloon pump job or you do specialty jobs and you're bringing a doctor or a nurse or a respiratory therapist with you for the most part. In a helicopter, we can't bring all these people with us. Working this job, you know, you're giving an additional skill set, additional skills. The training has been amazing. Probably some of the best training out of any EMS agency, and advanced my skills further. If we get a balloon job request, we don't have to bring a nurse that's trained on the balloon pump. We're doing it. We are trained as ventilator techs, so we don't need a respiratory therapist to go with us. But it takes a lot of work and a lot of training. And annually, we probably do close to 40 hours or more of training annually to just keep our skills up. And that's hands-on training, that's online training, practicing with mannequins here at the base level, always working to advance ourselves and keep our skills current and up to par.
Well, your wife's advice was certainly on target. You've now hit 1,000 patient transports, which really is extraordinary. And then one thing I know about air transports like that, none of them is really what what you'd call a routine run. Each one is urgent care with a capital U. You're in a very specialized fraternity, and there's just not a lot of aeromedics out there. For the layman who's never seen the inside of an ambulance, what's the life like? What's it like when you're a moment's notice, you're suddenly meeting somebody at their worst day in a critical situation most of the time?
It's day to day. The reason why 1,000 is such a milestone is because you take a day like today right now, in my area right now, we've had snow squalls, visibility has been terrible. So you have days where we can't help those people. Some of our local hospitals know that, like, if they got to get somebody transferred out of a hospital, if they could get us an ambulance to come pick us up, we'll come and we'll help that ambulance because we have a skill set that maybe that ground unit doesn't have. We could go in and help out that ground service to get this patient up to the facility where they need to get to, whether it's a ventilator or blood products. The job's constantly changing and things are being added, skill sets and so on. Talk about blood products. That was something that our company just started carrying not even 2 years ago. New York State was one of the last states to allow aeromedical units to carry blood products. It's been a big thing because usually if a hospital has to send somebody with blood, they have to sacrifice and send a nurse to transport if a helicopter wasn't available. Each call, each time, you could have days where you do nothing. You could have days where you might just do one. You might have days where you're flying all day long and could do 4 or 5. The most I've done in a 24-hour period was 6 flights. You never know what's going to happen when you come into work. Every call is different. Every patient that you encounter is different. There's always those variations in various things, and you get that satisfaction of when you can see the work that you're doing and seeing changes in the patient condition or improvements in that condition when you're transporting. I mean, you've seen situations where, sometimes it could be like you're hectic and you're running around with the head chopped off, but you don't show that. I've had situations where I've had a patient bringing over to a hospital for an MI, and we land and I'm talking to them, and then they all of a sudden their heart goes into another rhythm and you're doing the work. So it's just each situation's different, each thing's unique. There's some of those things that stick with you, like, man, I was talking to this guy just a minute ago and I asked him how was the flight, and he goes, oh, it was great, and we're getting ready to move him out of the helicopter, and then boom, now you're doing CPR. Fortunately I've never had to actually do CPR while flying, so that's a bonus. I've had a couple where it's happened at landing, or just that you never know, things could change in an instant in this job. The way the schedule works, I work 2 days a week, 24-hour shifts. The nice thing about our company is they encourage us to rest. We have a crew lounge, we have bunk rooms, we have places where we can rest and sleep and cook our meals. We're here at the base 24 hours. The schedule's really nice because it does give us an opportunity to work a 48-hour work week, right? We work 2 24-hour shifts. Between those 2 48s, you get a day off, and then you have several days off after your last shift. So it gives you time to spend with family, wind down, maybe help out with your volunteer agency or work somewhere else. It allows the opportunities for other things to do.
Yeah, some well-needed rest there in between shifts there. Burnout's a real issue in the industry as well. Well, congratulations on 1,000 safe flights, and here's to 1,000 more, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
That's Hector Camacho, a Hornell, New York-based flight medic who recently hit a remarkable milestone of 1,000 patient transports for LifeNet. Please join us again next time as we search for your home, your town, your hero. It's Hometown Heroes on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.